Hey guys, this is Reed here, and this is going to be another commentary type tutorial for Java Tutorials Episode 3. This question is minutes played from the 2008 regional packet, and the basic description of this problem is you're trying to keep track of how long different players have played in a basketball game. So, for instance, the first line looks like that. It has the person's name, the quarter, and then the time that they started, the quarter, time that they got out, quarter, time that started, quarter, time that they get in. One of the tricks you have to worry about is like right here where they go in, quarter is where they go in, quarter three is where they come out. So you have to, the hard part of this problem is figuring out, okay, how do I keep track of the times when it's between quarters? And I will show you a pretty simple way to make that work. What you're going to have to do first, make sure you get the name, because we're going to output this by line so you keep track of the name and then it will work for you pretty well. You also need the rest of the data, which is, we'll call that line. And that is send.next line up there. There you go. You got all the data red end. One more part you have to keep up here is a scanner for the new line, which we'll call this one data of line, like that. Scanner data equals new scanner line. And an array list of integers, which will be time in seconds. So time seconds, like that. What you'll notice is this template that you'll get has a bunch of imports in it, not just the necessary ones. Typically, if you're in a contest, you want to import everything and have a template file. You just copy and paste it over and over again. So this is just a template file I have from the contest I went to, and I have all my imports up here. I'll be using a lot of this static imports, which means you don't have to type the integer part or the system part. Makes it pretty easy on you. Don't have to worry about stuff. Okay, now we're going to go through everything in our data that has next. So we're going to parse through everything in the data, which is actually this line. We want to go through this and store all these values in seconds in our time seconds array list. And what we have to do first is we need to get the quarter. So string q equals send.next. I'm doing this in multiple lines. This could be simplified to put into one line, but you usually want to split it out a little bit just to make it easier. So this is num equals q.substring, actually no, parse int, which is calling the integer.parseInt, so I'll type that real quick. You don't have to have this part, you can delete it and it's going to be the same as if you had it there. So it's pretty simple like that because of the static import of integer.star, java.lang.integer.star. There we have that. So now we're going to parse int the second part of the q, which is going to be q.substring 1. Pretty simple. Now you have the quarter stored in your num value. The next part you're going to have to worry about is parsing the time. Now I prefer to write an actual method for parsing time and return my time that's in the colons like this in an integer array of size 2, where the index 0 has the 12 times in seconds, and it will basically just have 12, and then it will have 0, 0 in the two values. So it makes it easier to add. You don't have to do this. There's lots of better ways to get your time variables, but I'm just going to do it like this because this is how I always do it when I'm at a contest. I like keeping them in arrays like this because you can also make methods to go back between arrays and string, and it's easier because you don't have to worry about having all that code in the middle of your method. So you just throw, or in the middle of your main class, or in your main method, or in my situation, the run method. Because I call run like here, so I don't have to worry about static stuff, but basically it's easier to do it this way in my opinion. There's many other ways you can do it. You're just going to do data.next, like that. And then my method will be down here. I'll set that up. There is a little error I see right there. I need to be changing this to data. That way it's reading from the right scanner. That's an important thing to note, is you need to make sure you keep track of which scanner you are using. So since you're having two in this class, you'll want to make sure you keep track of the names and make them very separate so you don't mix them up. You want one scanner to be your main scanner where you run through your data set, and the second scanner to be the one for each line that you're parsing through. Inside here we'll have a couple of things. We need an integer index of the colon, like that. So now we know where the index of the colon is. We also need an integer array output. We know it's going to be size 2 because it's always going to be 2 parts in your time. Next thing we need to do is we need to return output like that. And that'll go last, but I'm just typing in there so you know the basic framework. Now when we fill in output, output 0 equals parse int, which I'm using it like here, except I'm not including the integer part because I have a static import. What you're going to do with parse int is you're going to want to parse through s.substring 0 through index. That'll give you the first part, and it'll catch it for if it's only going to have one part or it's going to have two numbers in the first little part of your index. You're going to have it like that. Next part is going to be output 1, which is simple parseInt s.substring index plus 1, because you don't want to keep the colon, you want to skip over that. And there you have it. Now you have your integer time. Temp time is stored with that. What you're going to do next, you're going to have another value, which is going to be int, just your time. This is what you're going to add to the array list once you're done filling it up and making it converted into your clock. The way I solve this problem is I make it start as quarter 1 is 12 times, I think so 12-minute quarter, so it's quarter 1 is actually the 48-minute mark. So what I'm going to do to get that is I'm going to do some if statements to check and see, depending on what quarter it is, it's going to do it. You could do this with the switch case pretty cleanly, but it's easier for me just to worry about just doing a couple if statements. It's faster to worry about. You don't have to worry about some crazy syntax in your if statements, or not your if statements, your switch cases. So temp time 0 times 60 converts it to seconds, plus temp time 1 adds the seconds in the quarter. Now we have the fun part. If num, which is actually your quarter, but we'll call it num right now, is 1, you know that time has to be added with 36 times 60, 36 more minutes to make it into the right time quarter wise. Else, if num equals 2, so at the second quarter, time needs to get 24 times 60. Now, you might make a mistake and you think, hey, shouldn't this be 48? Actually, you're going to have 12 here plus the 36 times 60, 24 plus the 12 you have there makes it all work out. It doesn't have to be the 48. Else, if num equals 3, then you do time plus equals 12 times 60. Now you could multiply it out. I'd rather just have Java do it for me. Don't have to make a mistake. Then now you have your time is all nice and pretty. Time in seconds. Add time, like that. And there you have it. Now your time is going to be stored in time seconds. And hopefully this compiles. Yep, first try compiles. So now you have all the data stored into your array list. Now the fun part, clock time. This is going to be how much time each player has actually played in the game. So for int I equals 0, I is less than time in seconds dot size, I plus equals 2. Now you can make this here -2, or actually -1, because you're going to be doing an I and then I plus 1, but you don't have to, because you know exactly that it will always be the right boundary case, because you're going to be filling it up with an even number of integers, so it won't ever go out of bounds, which is nice. So you're going to do clock time plus equals, because you're going to add every time they do something, you're going to want to add it. So you're going to do time.get I, so you're going to get the one that you started with, minus time.get I plus 1. Pretty simple, the 2 times, so it'll be 12 minutes minus 213, but it will all be converted to seconds and then based on a 48-minute clock, and it will all work out nice and pretty for you. Last thing you have to worry about is printing it out. So the trick is, what happens if I just do this? I'll do it the bad way first, and then you will see. Name plus space, like the nice formatting they want. Then you're going to do, let's just do clock time divided by 60 plus the colon plus clock time mod 60. Now this you would think would work out and look all fancy and pretty, and it doesn't compile because, times.get and times.get. There we go. It doesn't know what times it is. Cannot find simple times. It's time in seconds. Times secs. That's what I need in my variable. Yeah, make sure you remember what you name your variables, because then it won't compile if you don't type them in properly. Now let's run it, and you will notice, right here, the Mary one. It says Mary 34.5. Doesn't mean 34.50 or 34.05. It means 34.05. That's how long she was actually playing, and you know that because on the output you get your answer that you can download will have it there, and it will say 05. Now, how are we going to fix that? Well, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the second part, the clock time mod 60, doesn't happen like this, and it adds an extra 0 to it if clock time mod 60 is less than 9. So, or is less than or equal to 9. So if clock time is greater than clock time mod 60 is greater than 9, we can do it just like this and it will work out nice and pretty. If it's not, what we want to do is take that whole thing. You can make this into one print statement if you want to use some tertiary stuff. It's easier just to do it like this. Add a 0 to it. And let's see if it works. There we go. 3405, 2024, 2332, 349. All perfect, all correct, and there you have an answer. So it's pretty quick if you look at the logic or the code. It's not that many lines, and it's basically you just go through, put all your stuff into an array list. You could really simplify this method a ton if you even included the integer time parsing thing. You can stick all that in here, probably 4 or 5 lines maybe, plus all these if statements, convert to a switch case, make it really fast and short. And then you have your outprint statement, you can make that even less lines. So it's basically a really simple problem. You just have to know what you're doing and think about it. So I'll be doing hopefully a lot more of these because I have to do a lot of studying for UIL State because I qualified for that regionals this weekend, actually yesterday. So I'm going to be working overtime trying to get these out and study my own stuff for that. But I'll keep trying to get these out and give you some more tutorials. The next problem I'll be doing is going to be eBay, which is a really cool one from the same regional 2008 packet. And I thought it was a lot of fun. You just compare prices and stuff. Lots of different things you can add to that to make it look cool and work better. So I'll see you on Friday, and thanks for watching.